I am going to turn down feedback that's coming in right now from the Facebook Live feed. It's so good to be with you guys this evening. And here we are at Coffee and Tea with who? Coach Paula B. And I do have my coffee cup tonight. And actually, this is unbeknownst to the company, and I'm just going to give a shout out. This is Mean Mug Coffee. Mean Mug Coffee is in Salisbury, North Carolina, and a very good friend of mine owns that place. So if you're ever in Salisbury, North Carolina, I would advise you to go see it and tell them I said hi. Okay, we're at episode 2. Here we are. So glad to be with everybody, and I am truly trying to, here we go, I can see the feed now. So if anybody signs on and has questions, I can see them in the question mark. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about this show format, and we join every Tuesday, at least for the month of July. And those of you who want to come on with me and be live in the Zoom room are welcome to do that. And you just need to send me a message. I don't put it out there publicly, or otherwise I would just let everybody be on here. But there's that blasting stuff that happens on Zoom and that weirdness that happens when people blast in. So I will give you the passcode. You're welcome to be part of it. And I love having shining smiley faces looking at me while I do this instead of a blank screen. So it's wonderful. And I've got Sharon smiling happy face looking at me right now. So the way that this show goes is that I'm just like, you know, crazy. And so I do have my halo today, so I can just be angelic. I also have a few props. This is my oversized magic wand in case we need it. I will use those when I coach later on today, and I usually coach at the end of the session. We're on for about 30 minutes. Everybody's got other things to do and everybody's busy, so we'll try to keep this moving. But I do want to coach you guys. I do want to give you some value, and we're going to try this through the month of July, see how you like it. Now, here's the thing. If you like this, you've got to tell other people. You've got to share it. You've got to like it, love it, caress it. You've got to help it grow. That's what we do, right? When we like something, we help it grow. So you can do all kinds of things that help with that. 1, tell your other friends to get on. 2, join me live on the Zoom room. 3, share it afterwards. Share it to your friends, family members, or other people who like mayhem. And also, I do have a YouTube channel called Paula B Coaching. And go like, love, stalk, caress that. You've got to join in and be part of this if you want this stuff to keep on. Oh, look, we've got some people signing in on live with us now on good. Show me, give me some comments. If you, whoever you are, tell me who you are. Glad to have you here. So the way this format goes is I'm going to teach in just a minute. And I got some more people joining us in the Zoom room right now. So I'm thanking Mary for joining us. Mary Tunnison, who is also a coach, has just joined us in the Zoom room. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to, and it's so nice to see these smiling faces. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here, smiling faces. And I want to talk about story tonight and the power of story. Now, this teaching is a little bit backward. I would normally not like come out, this is episode 2. I would normally like, you know, not come out and talk about story like right away. But last week, several people were on and several people talked about the value of story and how that was their own personal gift and talent and all of that stuff. And we got talking about story. And so I said that I would present a little bit today about how do you formulate a story? How do you tell a good story? And what are some like expert advice about how you do that? Okay. So I thought I'd go into that. Yes, Mary. Mary had a question.
This is being recorded, and we'll get a copy of this, please.
Yes, this is. Yes, stop the presses. We're being recorded. We are live right now on Facebook. So, yeah. And every week we are live, just so you know. And if you do not want your face shown, it'd probably be best if you don't show up. So, because your face comes on when you speak, or you could probably be quiet and then it won't happen. But we're live on Facebook right now. We've got some people that are following us. So, and you can have a copy of this if you'd like it for your, you know, prosperity and posterity. Certainly glad to do that. So here's what we're going to talk about today. How do you formulate a story? So let me tell you how my story, and I'm going to tell you that really fast, hopefully. And then I will go through the formulation. Okay. And the reason that, why do you think this is important? Why does it matter how we tell a story? Well, we want people to listen. If you tell a boring story, nobody's going to listen, right? And we want people, maybe, you know, those of us that are in coaching, those of us that are in teaching, those of us that are in training modes or methodologies, we want to teach through it, right? And so, you know, whenever I've been involved in any kind of training or anything like that, the thing that I remember most is not necessarily the training, but what? The story. All right. And so learning to tell a story well, in a compelling way, in a teaching way, in a, you know, engrossing way, is very, very important. And so I'll tell you mine, and then we'll dissect it, because, you know, mine always can get better and all that kind of stuff. And then we want to like think about yours, and I would encourage you to think about your story. So those of you that are online right now, if you have 1 or 2 words, if you could summarize your story, like would it be sad, would it be happy, would it be, you know, whatever, just give me 1 word about your story, you know, long, short, poor, rich, whatever. What is your story? Just give me a little feedback about that. My story is a long one, and here you go. So I'm around 10 years old, and I'm doing what a 10-year-old does, right? I'm playing with Barbies, you know, I'm goofing around in my house, and after about 2 or 3 days of just goofing around and not seeing my dad, I think to myself, that guy hasn't been around here in a while. And I go to my mom and I ask her, Mom, Dad's not here. What's going on? And my mom stops what she's doing. She looks at me in the eyes and she says to me, your dad and I are getting a divorce, and I need you to take over and help me from now on. So as a 10-year-old kid, I took that to mean, oh my gosh, I better do everything, and I better, you know, keep up, and I better be good, and I better take care of things, or else what? She might put me out just like him, right? And so as a 10-year-old kid, I start going forward, and I you know, do my homework really fast every day. I try to clean the house. My mom's working, and I try to clean the house before she gets home. I'm cooking dinner. I'm taking care of my brothers and sisters. I'm doing everything that I can think of every day as fast as I can. And I become a human doing and not a human being. And this continues on and continues on. And the thing about it is I'm getting applause from the world because of this. What a good girl you are. Aren't you a great student? Aren't you good? Everything everyone tells you to do, go do. And I continue and I continue and I continue. And then I'm 30 years old. And all of a sudden, I can't function anymore. I'm so tired. I'm falling asleep at work. I'm falling asleep on the job. I can't keep my eyes open. I think there's something wrong with me. It must be medical. I must need a vitamin. So I call the doctor. And I go to doctor after doctor after doctor, and they run blood tests. And all the while I'm sitting in the doctor's office falling asleep while I'm waiting to see that doctor. And again and again and again, the doctor says to me that we can't find anything wrong with you. So I start thinking, well, I'm really nuts, you know, and I just keep trying to do more. I keep trying, you know, okay, somebody's going to notice. I got to go back to work. I got to keep doing more. I got to keep going to more. And I finally get to a doctor who says, well, we think you're depressed. Meanwhile, I'm not working. I'm losing my income. I'm, you know, feeling really, really bad about myself because I don't know what else to be in this world besides, you know, a human doing. And I start taking medicine. And I feel better. And I get energy. And I go back to work. And I thought to myself, oh, well, you know, I went through a depressive, you know, episode, and I was really ashamed that I was depressed, but I went back to work and I started trying to again do everything. I ran groups, I found people, I I did trainings, I worked at my job, I continued to show, and everybody again said, oh my gosh, you're even better. You write all the time, you've published a curriculum, you are the gift that we've all been waiting for. We can tell you any job to do and you finish it early, you finish it fast. And I got faster and I got bigger and I got, at about, I don't know what age it was, but several years later, I find myself with a marriage that's falling apart. I'm taking care of children in Guatemala, another country, running a school for free, receiving no money. I'm taking care of a downtown economic development program, trying to help, hundreds of businesses succeed. I'm, broke. My marriage is falling apart. And I have a son that I can't even feed. And I think to myself, something has to change. And I realize at a moment when I met with a friend on New Year's Eve, that it wasn't about doing more. In fact, it was about doing less. And that my trying to show up and receive love through doing, and my showing up through receiving love through being and getting accolades through what all I was doing faster and faster and faster, was actually the opposite of what I needed. And so I made a commitment, I made a decision to find out what else could happen in my life. And I went and I got coaching and I found a state-of-the-art program, and everything changed in my life. I learned how to become a coach. I learned how to help people in a different way, but first I learned how to help myself. I stopped working all the time, and I had to stop looking for love from other people, and I had to slow down. And when that happened, I started making more money than I ever made in my life. I started helping people build their businesses to almost a magical level quickly and overnight. I found some magical cures for myself. I took better care of my kid. I moved where I always wanted to go, and I became a master coach that was able to help people. I recovered, but I continued to recover. I don't have all the work done yet, but I became a hero. I have the ability to help people. I have the ability to talk to people, and I have the ability to enjoy my life and realize that it's not all about work. It's not all about show and look at me, and that little 10-year-old could heal from the fear of not being good enough and being sent away, and that I wouldn't be sent away if I lived a full life. So if I can help you change your life and change your business, if I can help you learn how to do this, if I can help you look at what's going on in your life and maybe take it to a deeper level and help you build a business without working all the time, with laying down those blocks that get in your way, and help you have more money, more time, more fun, and more joy in a faster way, all while scaling your business, that's what I do really well. Just give me a call. Okay. So you guys just heard my story. There you go. Are you ready to call me? Who's ready to call me? Come on, you guys, you're online. Give me a call. So what that's about is a process of telling a story, and hopefully it was engaging. If you guys like that, those of you that are online, please type in engaging, please, somebody. If you didn't like it, say we hated it, whatever. But if it was engaging and it encouraged you and it taught you something, then that's the point of the story. That's the point of the story. So let me tell you the elements of this. We're gonna chop it up. And you can do this with anything. I get challenged all the time. Last week, I was with a doctor that I coach, and she was trying to figure out how to tell her clinical practice story of how she treats people for this procedure for their eyes. And I asked her to tell me a story about why she even thought that that was important. And she started out with, well, you know, this person couldn't see anymore. And I was like, okay, let me tell you the story. One day, I'm with my client. He's 50 years old. He tells me his eyes hurt so bad that he can't even really see his grandchildren anymore. And he tells me that he's kind of given up hope because his eyes hurt so bad. And when he's walking, his eyes hurt so bad. And all of this is just hurting him so bad for so long that he just sort of wants to sit at home and sit in the dark. And my doctor realized that there was an easy treatment. She gives him the treatment, and he sees within a few hours again, runs to see his grandchildren, changes his life through this one treatment. And she decided at that moment she would always give these treatments. This was what her practice wanted to be about. And that if anybody she could help see again, live again, see their grandchildren in a better way, in a loving way, that was her mission. Now, I just told that whole story in 3 minutes, and I could have mentioned what the procedure is, and I could have mentioned what it is, but it's memorable, right? Who doesn't want to see their grandchildren? Who doesn't want to? So this is the element of being able to tell a story anywhere, anyhow. You can tell it in 30 seconds. You can tell it in 3 minutes. You can tell it in 10 minutes. You can play with it, but here's the elements. Are you guys ready? So you start out and you have a call. So this is a hero's journey. This is how Hollywood writes movies. This is the Toy Story. This is, so first you have a call. Something happens. Something happens that calls you to a journey. It's a massive dilemma. Okay? As a 10-year-old, here I am playing Barbies, and I don't see my dad around for a few days. And then I go ask my mom what's going on, and she gives me this answer that changes the trajectory of my life. That is a massive dilemma. How can I keep from, being put away? How can I keep from, how do I get seen? How do I get appreciated? That created that massive dilemma. So after the call, there's a pit. Okay. So what happens is the person goes on their journey, and it, like me, it took, 20 more years, and they have something happen that gives them the opportunity. They fall into a pit. They have I went into depression, that gives them the opportunity to go deeper, or to think about it, or to realize it. But many times in the hero's journey and the human's journey, we don't get it right away. It's on a surface level, right? Remember, I thought I was depressed, and if I could just go back to work, all would be better. That working and showing was the thing. So then there's a search, because it continues. The problem continues, but it goes deeper, right? So I continue to have the problem. I continue to act. I continue to produce. I continue to show. I continue to be the good girl. I continue to work. I continue to show through work, but it wasn't working. So that's the search. I was looking to recreate it. I was looking at what would solve. And then finally is a breakthrough. Okay. So I found myself broke. I found myself, in a bad marriage. I found myself taking care of everybody and everything in another country. And I had a breakthrough. All right. And once you have your breakthrough and you learn through that breakthrough, that moment of realization is when you carry forward. You carry forward your ability to change the lives and be the hero. You provide, but you have to be vulnerable during this conversation. And the other thing is, tell it in the first person. I see my mom. I ask her what's going on. It's so much more engaging. You will ride along the journey with me in the first person. But if I was to say, I saw my mom, I asked her what was happening, she told me my dad wasn't there, and then I went back to play, it's a very different experience. I want you to ride along with me. Okay. So that compelling part of telling your story happens in the first person. Does this make sense? If you guys are online, tell me it makes sense. I want to hear this makes sense. I want to see. Okay. So somebody said my journey was engaging. And also the solution, after the solution, and you learn from the breakthrough, the realization, that's when you can present whatever solution you're providing other people to, right? So then I said, I have learned that working all the time doesn't help. I have learned how to help people make money through not working all the time. I have learned how to lay down the need to produce, right? The need to show what I'm producing and do it so fast that I can't even rest. Okay. So I'm glad that makes sense. It makes sense at least to the peanut gallery. They're telling me right now, Paula's VIP peanut gallery is here. So I just, we don't have time to, like today, because we said we're going to try to stay on a half an hour to go deep into my story or this, but I thought I would give you guys just a framework and an element for how to work on your own story. Okay. So hope that's helpful. And now I see Mary looking and thinking and thinking and looking, and I see Sharon writing and producing and writing. And so I want to open this up to coaching, and I'm glad to coach to this story, and I'm glad to coach other people who are on live with me. If you have a question about your story, hey, you guys didn't give me the summary of your story. Is it poverty? Is it quick? Is it slow? Is it sad? Is it happy? Come on, you livers, give me some feedback. So, I would love to have some comments right now, and I'm going to have you guys introduce yourself, the VIPs that are on. Tell what your business is or what you do. Please keep it to 2 or 3 sentences. We don't have to have your whole resume. We can have you on as a show guest. We can have you on as a guest on the show, because from time to time we will have guests if we continue to do this. And then you can tell a lot more. But if you just give a couple of sentences about what you do, and then if you have a coaching question, I will, or especially around the story, I'll be glad to coach. So, Mary.
Hi, everybody who's listening in. I'm Mary Tunison. I'm a coach that works with people who've had weight loss surgery to help them achieve the lives and weight of their dreams. My question, Paula, is you described kind of a bit, you described kind of an aha moment.
Uh-huh.
What if your story is a series of smaller ahas? Can you talk about that? Because I think that's what my story is.
Okay, well, that's a real blessed event. That's a real blessed occurrence, because what you can do, I have several. I mean, I didn't just have that one. I did have that massive thing that happened to me, a few years ago. But I have several aha moments, and I can take them out and put them into small little stories and fit them into what it fits for. Like, you guys have probably heard my story about driving back from Guatemala in my car, not having the resources. That's a little bit, and that's a little bit of an aha. And so you can use them in different places. And if you have the longer story with this one, and then this happened, and then and I'm just going to say, I'm going to make an assumption. Okay. So my story, as Mary would maybe say it, is this happened, maybe this was the call, when I was, 5 or 6, and then, or maybe 15, and then this happened, and I decided I would hide myself and I would eat, right? Or whatever that was. Okay. And so then I got to the place where I didn't have good health, I didn't have good whatever, and I decided I would do this, and that fixed it for a while. Right. And so this is what I learned while it fixed it for a while. And then I went back down into the pit, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened in the pit. When I thought I had fixed it, this had not. And this is the next thing that I learned. This is the next thing that I learned. And then, I continued on, and it still didn't fix it. I had another pit. And the pit goes even deeper this time. So this is a great opportunity for you to continue to take people deeper, deeper, deeper in their own stories, right? They're going to be hanging along with you and saying, oh yeah, that happened to me. I went on a diet and lost 40 pounds or, released 40
And gained back
pounds.
60.
And then I had this weight loss surgery and I lost 100, and then I started gaining it back. I mean, whatever that is, you're learning something each time. So but go back into the pit, tell it in the first person, and they can follow your journey with you. But you do have sometime, some way, somehow an aha moment that provided you your breakthrough to why you decided to become a coach, why you decided to give back, what changed it, what clicked for you. Was it coaching yourself? Was it, meeting your husband? Was it a whole group of people that you were in a group with? Whatever. There usually was like one heavy moment of realization that changed everything.
Are you asking, or do you want me to tell you, or?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, it's also, we're approaching on time, and I want to hear what Sharon has to say, but I hired a coach to help me when I was in the pit.
Right.
And it was as though I got everything. The surgery worked here, and the coach worked here and here. And that was sort of my aha, to see the massive difference.
So it aligned it all and brought it together. That was the breakthrough. And then you learned from that you couldn't, and you probably were in the pit because you worked on this, and then you went into the pit, your head, and then you were in the pit because then you worked on your stomach, and that didn't work, and then you went and worked on your head, and then finally coming out of the pit meant you took them both together, and you realized that it had to be both together, something like that.
Yep.
So that is very compelling. It's very like, I want to do this. How do I do this? Often when I tell my story, I have people say, will you work with me? Like while I'm telling it. Often. So,
yeah. Okay. I want to hear Sharon. So thank you very much.
Yeah, Sharon.
Unmute. All right. So I don't know where I'm going. I just know that I'm on a journey.
Yeah.
And I really don't know. I'm having little epiphanies everywhere.
Yeah.
And I have no idea where I'm going.
Okay.
I know for a long time I thought I had to know where I wanted to go, but I realized that
There's your moment of realization.
one of my moments of realization, yes, is that I could just know how I wanted to feel.
Yes.
And so it feels like it's a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And I've one of my words is midwives. I'm having midwives help me along the way, because I know that I am the one that has to do the work. Just like when you're giving birth, I was the one who had to push the baby out. But I'm like midwives. Like I've known Paula for 30 years, and she's one of my midwives. And people that I don't even know really are little midwives along the way. And so
yeah. So here's what I would encourage you to do if you want to take, because you're, defining your story. This is a really great point, because there's many reasons to look at your story. And, one of the reasons is, it's going to help me teach. It's going to help me, connect with people. It's going to help me connect with other people that have some similar interests or similar needs. But the other reason to tell your story is for you. And it's for you to examine that whole journey. Like you said, you're on the journey. So for you to literally take these pieces and say, what was my call? Where is that massive dilemma? And where did that massive dilemma start? Or maybe it's a couple of times, 2 different dilemmas or whatever. And then where's the pit? What was the first time you found yourself, following this, solution that you thought you made because of the massive dilemma, and then you fell in a pit because of it, right? Some people it's, I thought money would solve everything. Me, I thought doing everything and, being really good all the time would solve everything, and that was what I needed to be. But where was the first time you fell in the pit? So you can write about that, and then you can go, okay, so then I got out of that pit and I kept walking along, but then I fell in another pit. So what was the deeper, I'm on a search, and maybe it's part of right now that you're on a search. Maybe that's what it is your search right now, and you don't necessarily have the breakthrough moment. So that's part of your story too. You're seeking your breakthrough, right? And so writing this out for yourself can be really, really helpful. You know, it gave me like, oh my God, I was a human doing from the time I was 10. No wonder I crashed when I was 30. Hey, anybody else who's on here right now, can you identify with being a human doing? Can you identify? I mean, I don't know if anybody else can, but it's, you know, it's pretty prevalent in our culture. And the unfortunate thing about it is it's celebrated in our culture. And the other part of it that is not celebrated is what happens as a result of it. So that's, you know, part of my life mission is to try to help people let go of that. So, so your journey can, you know, taking you through that is going to give you those realizations. So that's part of the story too. So you can just take these categories and write that out if you want to. Hope that's helpful.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, a couple more minutes. You know, the peanut gallery's been lovely today. You guys on Facebook Live are like, you know, what are you doing? Are you just drink some coffee? You might need some coffee. Come on, give me some feedback. Anyway, so love the peanut gallery and love you guys on Facebook Live too. Again, I'm gonna actually take a couple of coaching questions. If you have something outside of the story that you want to ask, you can ask me anything. That's part of this today. Coffee and tea with Coach Paula B means I coach. But before I do it, forget it, because I forget this all the time. I really need you to share this, provide this information to other people, help other people with this, like, love, caress it, and especially like, love, stalk, and caress my YouTube channel, which is Paula B Coaching. Okay. So, yeah, so Mary wants to share a Michelle Obama quote. So go ahead.
Well, it's not a quote. So often when we hear about these stories, we think, well, that's just my story. It's not very important. And in the Netflix documentary that's running right now, which is part of her book tour, she was talking to these kids from pretty dire backgrounds, and most of them were girls of color. And one little girl said, well, that's just my story. And she just stopped her and she said, your story will move mountains.
Yes. Yes.
And
yes.
when I heard it, it just lit me up so much.
Yes.
And she said, think about how much we talk about what Barack and my story is, that we came from this situation and ended up here. And
yes.
people engage with that. It all starts with the story. And while I love you, Paula, and you're very bright and very, very capable, it's nice to find Michelle Obama absolutely echoing what you just taught us. So I thought I'd share that with the whole world.
One more level of what do you call it? Yes, you're on the right track. Yes. And you know what? I'm so sorry. I've been saying to you guys that I don't see anything because I see a bunch of comments now on the Facebook Live, and just my apologies. It's just what my Facebook has been doing. So thank you, Amy, for being here. Thank you, Kim, for being here. Thank you, Matthew, for being here. Thank you, Vincia, for being here. I hope it's helpful. I just love you all very much. And I'm going to coach for a minute more. If you guys have coaching questions, ask me anything. And those of you who are on the Facebook Live, if you have a coaching question, type it in, please. I'm glad to try to answer it. Ask me anything. Stump the chump. That's why I have my halo, because I'm just like in my perfect angel mode right now. And I do have a magic wand, so I can solve it for you too. And it does say peace. I won't hit you with it because it says peace. Oh, when you have a real magic wand, Mary, I'm so jelly. Oh my gosh. You don't see it. You probably don't see it because it doesn't come out because she's not talking right now. But okay, couple of coaching questions. Anybody got something for me?
All right, I have a question.
Okay.
So I think I would want to have a business, but I have no idea what it would be.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I keep on coming up with ideas. I'm excited, and then like, no, I don't really want to do that.
So, okay, so the way that there's two ways that when people come to me and they want to start a business and they don't know what they want to do. One, you know, you're this mass of gifts and talents that you were put on this earth with a reason, with something to give the world, with all of that. So, and Matt's asking me something too, so let me not forget that. But so you want to list first out your gifts and talents and the stuff you really love, the stuff you do. When you do it, you lose time. Because part of what you want to do in an ideal business world is not hate your business. You want to love your business. You want to love what you're doing. You want to lose time while you're doing it. So you might want to make a list of the things that when you do it, you lose time. Okay. And then the other thing is, as I cannot say enough about this, is follow your intuition. That is the way that, you know, Steve Jobs will tell you that's how he built his business. Oprah will tell you that's how she built hers. I will tell you that's how I built mine. But, you know, these people are making, you know, big decisions in different ways than I am. So I'm part of the pie. But, and. So sit with all of these things that you lose time with when you do, that you really enjoy. And then just ask. Go to your center, go to your place in a quiet time and space, and ask which of these are options that I can, you know, make more money with, that I can have more fun and more profit with. And just ask. And there's no prison sentences. So, you know, I mean, there probably are prison sentences, but in my world as a coach, I don't want you in a prison. So if something, you know, you just kind of start following the trail of intuition. And the beautiful thing is, if you're really acting on intuition and following that, the next thing will come about. So it may and it's so beautiful not to think that you have to come up with the whole solution. You can follow the next piece and the next piece and the next piece, following your intuition and what feels right and what feels inspiring. So and what'll happen is those other midwives will show up. So they'll give you, that's what, you know, some of us coaches do, some of us business coaches will say, well, what about this idea? What about that idea? Or somebody else will say that. And, you know, because you're seeking, it'll come to you. It'll, you know, heaven wants to bless you with that. So it'll start coming. But where I would start is the stuff that you lose time with, the stuff that you really enjoy, and then going to your center place and just asking, you know, of these things, which are the ones that I could, you know, make more fun and profit with, and follow that first one in inspiration. And you'll know, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of doing it now because you're like, I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound good. And so it's okay. You know, it'll come. And then the next piece of inspiration will come. The next piece of inspiration will come. It will. And here's a good segue. I have a challenge called 10K in 5 days that people who have participated in it really loved. I will start the next challenge August the 17th. That would be a really good place for you to be, so you can explore some different markets, some different ideas, and be in the power of other people who are doing this kind of stuff and looking from heart-centered space and creating from heart-centered space to kind of love into you and help you. I know there's Amy is on here right now on the live feed, and she is a person that was kind of seeking when she went into the last challenge, and she's coming up with all kinds of new things. She goes live all the time in fact, she had a live today telling us what she's coming up with. So there's so many people there that'll support you and love you into it. That's part of the whole following the inspiration chain. I hope that helps. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Don't forget the guy. Mary's telling me, don't forget the guy who makes millions selling pet rocks. Yes, it is so amazing to me how many different successful businesses there are. And here's what I've decided is that if you get your heart in it first, you know, many of you hear me say heart in, hands on, right? Heart has to come in before your hands get put on. You have hands anyway, so they're put on. But wait until that's the mistake I made. I always had hands on first and no heart in. right? And so if you bring your heart first and you explore what it's about, heart in, and then bring your hands on, it'll be a blessed thing. So that's why, yeah, and Matt's saying follow the inspiration. That is why these pet rock businesses flourish. That is why, I've watched, like, these, like, make $1 million in 10 weeks, and there's 8 people that are already doing it. And I was like, oh my God, let me look at that. I could use $8 million. And then they present something, and it's like, and I have actually gone down the rabbit hole of buying the program, right? Because I thought this was going to solve everything, and I'd finally have $8 million or whatever it was. And then I don't do anything with it. And the reason I don't do anything with it is because it isn't my inspiration. It isn't my heart. I'm just trying to follow a solution that was presented to me. So the heart space is the really big thing first. And that's one of the things that we really deal with in the challenge, is figuring that out. And then we talk about markets after that and what could happen. So how do you lean into the uncomfortable? It feels like, Matt, I want to have you on the VIP room because I want to ask you more questions about the uncomfortable, because is that uncomfortable you're uncomfortable, or you're uncomfortable with the response that somebody else is giving you? And so, if we get really, we can, I don't even want to say if, we are taught to be aware of our environment, and to be maybe even afraid of our environment, and afraid of people's reactions and all of that. But again, if you go back to your heart space and you're saying your truth, and you're speaking from truth, and you're speaking in love, then it should not really be uncomfortable unless you're feeling the feelings of the other person that's sitting on the other side of you. And I think that's a mistake. We can't feel anybody else's feelings, and we can't be responsible for those feelings, but we're taught at every turn that we ought to be doing that. So I want you, Matt, if you'll come on next week and keep that question, because I don't know enough about leaning into the uncomfortable. I think the lean is the love, and I think it's speaking from your truth, and speaking from your authenticity, and just being vulnerable. That's what I think. But I want to know more about what you're asking. So I hope you'll come on the VIP room next week. All right. Anything else? Give me a 1 if this has been helpful. I hope this has been good. Give me a 1 if you're going to share this. Whatever. Okay, Mary's giving me a 1. She gets a star. Sharon's giving me 1s. All right. So you guys that are on live, thank you so much for all your comments. And I'm sorry I didn't see them before, but you guys are really interacting and really being great, and I so appreciate it. I want to tell you about a few things. I do have a podcast that I have started. It is called The Bad Assery. And it will be rolling out very well and advertised very well. I've got a few people that are guests. I want to ask people to be my guests. There's a form you can fill out to be it. Basically, I need to have your badass story, and all of us are badasses when we're born, but I want to know when you first connected with it and what you were doing with it now to do good in the world, because that's what we need, the ripple effect of working from passion in our badassery to affect the world. So that's, if you want to be a guest, I'd love to have you, and I'll highlight you. And I have a form, and you just email me, Paula Maven, MAVEN SOUL, mavensoul@gmail.com, and I will get you that form and see if we can get you to set up to be a guest. But I want you to also tune in and sign in and all that stuff. Big thing is I got this YouTube channel. What did I say? Like, love, caress, and stalk it. I'm putting out content every day. I want you to look at the content, respond to it, like it, share it with other people. Let's get this going. You guys know that I have a mission that I'm on, and my mission is about helping and supporting people to find their own badassery, their own gifts, their own talents, and to use them to better the world in a in an environment where we are loving each other while we do that, so that we cannot fail, so that we're supported, so the power of proximity is around us, so that our gifts are going out in ripples that is unbelievable. Yes, stalk it. That are unbelievable and unable to deny in love and in giftedness and in support of each other and the world. So that is my mission. And I can't have this mission unless it goes out. Yeah, you're welcome for the storytelling tea and coffee time. Bring your tea and coffee. That's on you. I'll tell the rest. And next week, I got to come up with something else. We're not going to tell stories next week, but really, this will give you, it would be neat if I had a guest on who told a story after I taught you how to do it. That would be kind of an interesting process. So I have to have you guys like, love, and stalk my stuff when I put it out, and share it with other people so we can grow this movement. Right? So we have other people that are there, because some of us need to rest sometimes. And if there's enough of us, there's always somebody there to love and put it out there. So we want to be part of that. I thank you for doing that. Also, if you want to redo the challenge, August 17th through the 22nd is that week. And you can sign up. The ability to sign up will be out there very, very soon, probably at the end of this week. And tell other people. Again, this is part of the mission, to get people connected with their gifts, their joy, their talents, and other people who support them. And that's what we do in this challenge. It's heart in, hands on. And that's what this is about, this whole network. So love you guys very much. Honored to be with you. Just great energy and great love I have. I'm no good at making this little heart thing. I'm getting better. So all you guys that are on the feed, I'm making the little hand heart sign. Hope you'll put it out there. Here I come in for a hug, an energy hug. Love you all very much. We'll see you next week. 5:30, be there, be square. Those of you who want to be on the VIP room, just send me an email. I'll send you the information. I send it out one time a day in a mass email. And so I don't have to do that all day long. And seriously, if you try to text me at 5:30, what's the link? I'm not going to respond to you. I'm sorry. It's just too hard to be doing all this and trying to give a link out at the same time. Thank you all so much. And I have a group of people that are starting with me tomorrow, the Badass Business Attractor Factor. Those that are in the Attractor Factor zone, we're going to blow it up starting tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, the ones that are with me. And if anybody wants to join in, send me an email. We'll figure out how to put you in that. Love you all very much. Talk to you soon. I know we went over, but thanks for hanging with me. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.